Hello, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone's doing well. In today's video, I'm making a planter in the shape of Santa pants. I ordered this mold from Temu, and the mold that I received is slightly different from the one that was in the picture when I ordered it. It just has more like candy canes and little balls and stuff on it. I'm going to put a picture of the original one I ordered on the screen so you can see. But I mean, it's not a huge difference. There's just things on there that I'm not really sure what they are. So I didn't want to brush on mica on the parts that I wasn't sure about. So I'm basically going to brush on, I think it's 4 different colors. I'm going to start with this interference gold, and I'm going to use that for the snowflakes. And then I'm trying to remember, a white for the top of the pants, and then like a red that I had to mix up because I only have 2 reds. I don't use red a lot usually, so I only have this like coppery red and this really bright red that's almost pink, like a fuchsia color. So I mixed those two together with a little bit of black, and I got a really nice like burgundy color out of it. So that's what I'm going to use for the pants. And then the boots, I'm just going to do in black. And yeah, I was considering using paint pens. Um, but I'm just really bad at paint pens. I know everyone's going to ask me why I didn't just do it in one color and paint the colors on. Because every time I hit hit the resin with the paint pen, it slips off the resin, or it drips, or it just doesn't look right. So I always try to avoid having to paint anything on after, unless I'm using like a brush and acrylic paint. But when I went to get my acrylic paint, it was all dried out. So long story short, I had 2 choices: brush on mica or try to use the paint pens. So I decided to go with the mica first to see if I could get that to work. So if anybody else has problems like brushing mica on, and then, when you turn the mold right side out again, it gets like the powder goes everywhere, even though you've brushed off the excess. You're not alone. It happens to me all the time. Not really sure what to do about that, but I try to wipe it off the best I can, and then hopefully I got as much, of the colors out. But I can see the black kind of got on the red. There really wasn't anything I could do about it. So anyway, long story short, I'm just going to leave it as is. I did the best I could, and I'm just going to pour the resin in there and see what it looks like and try to fix it afterwards. Like I said, I mixed up my red. I'm using a 1-to-1 epoxy resin to pour this, and then I'm just going to let it sit and degas for probably an hour. It's pretty thick and tall, so I don't think it'll take too long to cure, especially when I put it on a heat mat later. I could actually cure it in like 4 to 5 hours on a heat mat, so it's not too bad, but I want to give it some time because I didn't run this through a debubbler. I completely forgot to do that. And I do hit it with a heat gun, I hit it with alcohol, I do everything I can to get those bubbles out. It's not really the big bubbles, it's more those micro bubbles that are the issue, because you'll see those more. The bigger ones are easier to get out. You can tap your mold, heat gun, alcohol usually gets those bigger bubbles out. But anyway, I'm just going to let it cure for, like I said, the 4 to 5 hours, and then we'll come back and demold. So as it turns out, I made way too much resin. So you get a bonus project in this video. I'm going to do a tray, and I'm going to do it with alcohol ink, which sounds weird, but I've done this in other videos where I just drop different colors onto the silicone and then pour resin on top. Usually a color just to see if any of that alcohol ink comes through. It has worked on colors like white, pink. I think I did a blue and a purple. I've never done red, and this red's pretty opaque, so I'm not really sure if any of this alcohol ink is going to really show, but I'm going to give it a try. So I think I picked, and I can't remember, 4 colors, 4 or 5 colors. And I did throw in a yellow just for fun, just to see what would happen. But the rest of the colors are mainly like pinks, purpley pinks, and reds, different shades. So I'm just going to randomly drop a bunch of it onto the silicone, like I said, and then pour the resin on top and just let it cure, and we'll see what we get afterwards. Okay, so the planter is cured, and I'm gonna demold. um, I'm hoping that at least some of the mica stayed where I put it, and I don't have too much cover-up work to do. This mold is very difficult to get out. I don't know if my hands are getting weaker as I get older, or if the silicone just is difficult to pull over the top, but yeah, I had to go off camera, I think, for a second to get it off. But once I get it off, you'll see that a lot of the micas just kind of went everywhere. The black one on the red one on the white, and so on and so on. So I really didn't have any other choice but to use paint pens on this one. Now, I do remember some of you commenting in previous videos of different ways to put color on afterwards, like I think UV resin. And I think one of you suggested, and it might have been with glitter, that you can mix it with like a varnish. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not remembering exactly what the product was, but I think you said varnish, the person, and then put that on. So I didn't think of that at the time. I completely forgot you guys suggested that. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I ended up using paint pens to try to cover up all of the spots, like the white especially, because it looks pink. Now for the red, I only have one color paint pen, and it's a really bright red, which would be fine, but I wouldn't be able to do the candy canes. It would all kind of blend in together. So I didn't paint the pants. I just kind of left it the way it is for now. And now I'm demolding the tray, and this is the one I dropped the alcohol ink in. And I love the tray. I think it's really pretty. You definitely do not see a lot of that alcohol ink in there. A little more in person than you do on camera, but for the most part, it's on the back, which is fine. I still love it. I think it's a really pretty color. And not sure what I'm going to do with this one yet because it was an extra. I didn't have a plan, but it's really pretty, and I'm sure I'll figure something out. I love the sparkle that comes out of the red. Like I said, it's really hard to see on camera, but it's definitely sparkly. And the color is just I don't know. It's like a deep burgundy, but it has some spots of red in it. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a little marble. But anyway, here's the Santa pants after I put 2 coats of the paint pen on here. Still needs some work. Like I said, I have a lot of trouble keeping the paint pen on the resin. It always slips off. I usually make a mess, but this is what we have so far. Like I said, I couldn't go over the pants. I didn't have the right red. I will finish it off another time, and you can see the white one on the inside, but I'm happy with it as far as, you know, being my first try. I definitely will try again and probably get some acrylic paints with a brush. I think it'll be a lot easier for me. But yeah, let me know what you think. And I look forward to your comments as always. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.